Welcome into Nerd Network News, everyone. And today we have the pleasure of interviewing
Sarah Ann Williams,
Dawn M. Bennett,
and we're going to talk some voice acting. What are some of the highlights that you would like to share with your fans?
That's very broad. That's a lie.
I mean, like highlights of the career, like getting to do conventions like this and getting to do cool interviews like this this is audio only, so you can't see, but they are extremely talented cosplayers and they both look amazing.
Thank you.
So yeah, doing stuff like this is a ton of fun. You know, icing on the cake for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice that people want to, like, listen to me talk and stuff and want my autograph, which is always funny, because then I go back home and I'm just like, thank God I'm a normal schlub again. Because, like, I mean, I've been just glad to work on the stuff I'm working on. All I want to do in this career was work on cool things that give me artistic, feed my artistic little stomach, and work with nice people. That's all I want. I just want to work with good people on cool stuff.
What are some of the things that you look for when you're choosing a role, or your favorite type of character traits that you like to bring out of a role?
So normally we don't get to choose the ones.
If
we just audition for them.
I'd be so happy. God, do you know how wonderful it would be to be like, oh man, that's coming out. I like this character, please. Thank you.
I want to be the lead of this one and this one.
Please put me on the list for that one. That I claim her. No one else is claimed.
This one's mine.
Just go by the dibs system. Just dibs.
That one's mine. No, you can't. I will fight you to the death.
Just be like, no, it's like, no, the dib system. Damn.
Dib system.
Damn it.
But, I mean, we still do choose who we audition for.
That is true. Well, sometimes they only send you the one thing, and it's like,
sure.
It's like you can read for it or not, but if you're lucky and they're like, here's a smorgasbord of roles to try for, you'd be like, oh yeah, I'll do that one, yeah.
The way that I normally pick is like, I pick the one that, all right, I'll probably kill this one. Like, if they cast me as is, like an easy cast, I can do when I was in Texas, a lot of times I got cast for like, oh, we need a deep voice lady? Oh yeah, let's get on. Very sexy, play all the mommies. But then I would audition for a character like that. And then maybe something that I really want to book that I don't book very often. And then just a wild card out there. So I try to do it in 3s or more if I'm feeling lucky.
3 is usually a good number. Like, sometimes they don't give you a limit, and sometimes if it's not gonna take, or if I have the time, or if it's not gonna take a long time, then, they send 5 auditions and be like, yeah, I'll send a 5, whatever.
Yeah, why not?
But there are some directors and some casting people who get like, oh, why did they send all 6? Why?
Why did you send 6?
So sometimes, yeah, 3 is a good number to shoot for if you have more than 3 to choose from. And yeah, it's like I said, sometimes it's like, okay, so I have 3, so it's like, send the one that's your sweet spot. Send the one that I like, that is sort of just like, ooh, I like this character, that's fun. And then usually I go for one that's like, I don't get cast for this a lot, and I'd like to try and stretch myself a little. Let's go for this and see if I can at least, get some practice out of it for this role that I'm usually not really great at, but I'd like to be better at. And then, sometimes you get lucky and they're like, hey, yeah, do that. I'm like, oh, yay.
I think what's a lot of fun with it too is when you get cast for the one that you're like, I feel like my audition for that was kind of weak, but that was the one you picked out of all the ones I did. All right, I guess I don't trust my own perception of myself.
Or maybe they like the more natural you, because if you're weak, perhaps that's more your natural voice rather than trying to play a character.
That's a good point.
More and more, a friend of mine actually said that, because I had them help me with an audition. And he's like, take it down to your normal voice. And I'm like, you sure? And he's like, yeah, take it down. And to be fair, it's true that a lot of stuff wants your natural voice. They don't want something so charactery. I mean, you can go charactery, but they don't want you to go all high-pitched and stuff. Sometimes they just want your normal voice and do the character that way. And more and more, I try to force myself down if I feel like I'm suddenly going too high-pitched. It's like, try it down here, Sarah. Go back more natural a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I remember for, I played Shez in Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. Shez is the main character. And I remember I didn't even know what it was for at the time, because everything's under code names and you don't know what the game is, you don't know what the character is. But I remember getting the audition and I thought, what if I just try it the way that I talk right now? What if I just do that? I've never done that. We'll send it, maybe we'll get it, maybe not. And even then I did in 1 or 2 takes. And I guess they really liked it. I was like, oh shoot, cool. You guys interviewed Richard earlier, and Richard was my teacher. I worked under him for 2.5 years. And a lot of I remember telling him when I did that audition, I'm like, I thought of all the stuff that you were teaching me, like not overthinking it, and like, oh, if the character's in their 20s, well, how did you sound in your 20s? Or how did you sound in high school? Not too different than how you sound now. Because I feel like when I see the word high school, I get scared. I'm like, oh, do they want it all the way up here? Because a lot of anime does that.
But I think it's
No.
mostly, to be fair, unfortunately, I think anime does kind of mess with our heads in that sense.
Yes.
Because let's face it, they have adult characters in anime that sound like they're 5.
I have played a mom who sounds like this.
So I think sometimes we get in, sometimes especially when we're dubbing for anime or auditioning for it, there's a sense of, but more and more that's not the case, I guess. Like, or they go completely out of the box, like with, Farron is getting high amounts of praise. And I know that the lead actress just went much lower than the Japanese. And everyone loves it because it's like, yeah, it works. So sometimes I think we get caught up in that being like, but we have to be like the Japanese. We got to be exactly the same height pitch. And even that sometimes I just remind myself like, no, go ahead and go lower, because especially if it's grounded, then you're just like, they don't, then it's like, no, then go natural.
Well, like, I made a post about it once where, because, like, we shouldn't read the comments, but we do a little bit. And I've seen people comment on like different actors going, oh, they sound too old for this high schooler. The voice is way too low. I'm like, no, like pitch and age they're different from each other. But I was like, you guys went to high school. Did anyone sound that high pitch? Like, no, most of you guys sound like how we're talking about now. And I remember posting like clips of like, because high schoolers like making their own on-camera interviews and stuff, and I was like posting all of those. I'm like, no one sounds that high. So
Yeah, I mean, honestly, even little kids, unless they're screaming, like, I've heard some pretty deep little kids, and that's even like girls, boys, anything in between. And you talk, your voice gets tired. Everyone kind of sounds like a normal talking human when we come down to it. Like, when you act, you do something silly or exaggerated. You want to get a point across. What are some of the fun parts of that when you are trying to get a point across and you have to get an emotional communication without being able to use your face? What are some of the challenges and how do you overcome them with trying to get those very fine emotional cues with just your voice?
I think definitely we have a term called pre-life, which anime, you don't get to do it as much because you're confined to like the flaps. So what they do on screen.
You can get away with it though.
You can. If it's off screen, like, yeah, definitely. Pre-life in video games, like having some breaths in there, a sigh, or like little like, and then this, like little mouth noises like that helps give more and more life to the character. And I haven't worked in a ton of prelay, but it also gives the animators like more like a clear picture of what to do. It helps them tremendously as well. So yeah, I'd say giving it more pre-life, that helps convey emotion that you can't without a camera.
I mean, for me especially, it's just I come to realize that you can't fake it. If you try to fake it, they're going to hear it, or they're going to find the person who isn't faking it, who actually is connected, is going to beat you anyway because they just sound better. And it's been a long time learning this. I know Richard teaches it and other people teach it, though it's taken a point where I had to hear it a very certain way to get it. And it's formed a thing in my head where I think to myself, connection, not perfection.
Yeah.
Because, and I've taken classes of that where it's like the casting people aren't necessarily looking for the most perfect audition. Sometimes it cannot be the most perfect audition, but they're listening and they're hearing something that's like, okay, maybe it's not on point, but we hear them connecting. They get the character, they get it, and that's direct, and we can direct them the way we want properly. You have to connect to the character, which now that I'm saying it, I know how vague that sounds, because if I had heard that back when I didn't get it, I would have been like, how? What? There's certain, that a lot of times people say, well, you need to make strong choices. And to me, that's as vague as be positive. It kind of drives me nuts because it's like, okay, how do I do that? It is just, you have to find a way to connect to the character. It's like, in the way I come across that these days is, I just have to find a common ground with them, basically. And sometimes that just happens naturally and you don't have to think about it. That was Sayaka Miki for me. It's just like, I get her. She's so familiar to me. It's just like, I get it. Go. Boom. But that stuff out of your wheelhouse, that's like, the queen, or sometimes those blue blood characters that I have a harder time booking, the queens, the royalty, the I am posh transatlantic accent, oh, it's like, that's not really me, but you can find a way to connect. You just have to, and again, it has to be very vague, and I could talk about this for hours, but now the time, so I'll leave it there. If I had more time, I would go into more in depth about it, but
Absolutely. Branching off of that, when you add the extra layer of a character, whether maybe it's a villain, something that you yourself could not ever imagine doing. It's like a character you hate, but you're voicing, or a character whose actions you hate and you're voicing. How do you hit those notes and make that connection and overcome that struggle to voice that character?
I have fun with it.
Yeah.
I have fun.
It is key to have fun. Though not all villains can be fun. Some villains are truly awful, horrible people. Like, Anthony Hopkins at one point played Hitler. Like, how do you approach that? Because it's like, that man was a monster. But the key thing I've learned, and it's also the key thing with, I think it also applies to playing crazy, is that villains don't think of themselves as villains. They're not, for the most part, unless it's like, maybe a comedic thing, villains aren't going around being like, ha ha ha, I am so evil. Most villains don't see themselves as evil. They see themselves as justified. And that was the key thing I learned in one of the more recent classes I did was, your job as the actor is not to judge the character. The audience judges the character. Your job is to justify what you're doing, especially if you are a bad person, a bad character, a villain. Like, say, Maleficent. Awesome, like classic evil, classic Disney evil. She's got a character that would be so much fun to play because she's just so confident in but that's the thing, when I thought about her character, and that's like, oh, how is she justified then? Because she is very much that classic, I'm evil, all the fires of hell.
I mean, they didn't invite her to the party.
But that's the thing. That's true. When you think of her mindset, think of number one, she's not human. She's fae. Yes. She is a fairy type. She's like Oberon in the court of Shakespeare. Fae aren't gonna think like humans think. So what is the big mistake that kingdom did? They insulted her
and not her.
No, that's the crux of it. It's not just the fairies, because she probably would have been fine if they were there too. They didn't invite her, and that is disrespect. And most of the old stories say number one thing you do not do to a fae, you do not disrespect them. They will come at you. So yeah, and even then, if you watch that movie back and you look at her coming in, I don't think in my own personal interpretation of that role, I don't think she's coming in at first to basically do what she does.
Agreed.
I think she's come in and been like, so, what's the dealio? Kind of feel a little disrespected here, The moment I think when she makes her decision to be like, yeah, I'm done with these people, is when the blue fairy basically is like, you weren't invited, and her eyes do that momentary little widening.
Yeah.
And she just goes, oh dear. I think that's the moment where she's just like, and I'm gonna screw your kingdom. Fuck you people. Sorry. Pardon my French.
Allowed. You're totally fine.
So yeah, that's her justification, is that you disrespected an ancient being who frankly is in a position beforehand to destroy you. And probably out of the benevolence of her good heart hasn't up until this point, because maybe this kingdom had a prior agreement where it seems like it was expected that you invite her to this sort of thing. And you're not gonna? Well, there's her justification. So
it's a lot of just thinking about, okay, how can I just make it sound like I believe what I'm saying?
It's honestly, it sounds hard, but if you just find a common ground with the character, it's like, in her case, because again, that would be challenging for me, because I love thinking about it, but how do you play that, and how do I play that? I would maybe start thinking to myself, okay, how have I felt? When was a time in my life when I felt that disrespected, where I was just like, the hell? To the point that I would be that petty. That what's a moment in my life I felt that disrespected that I would be like, I will be that petty right back. I will do something. Maybe I didn't go through with it, but I would almost be like, oh, if I could just destroy you somehow, I would. That's a start, to start delving into how I could connect to that.
Yeah, anything you'd like to add?
I mean, that's pretty much it.
All right, let's get to the fun question. Nerdy hobbies and passions for each of you.
Oh.
D&D.
Yes.
I play with, you interviewed Bosco earlier, Edward Bosco, and I play on the Unexpectables with him. I played with him several times.
Awesome.
That's my main thing, and I love D&D. Well, D&D tabletop stuff. I just love tabletop and all that. It's great.
What's your character and alignment?
I don't have a specific one right now. My thing right now is every single game I played, I try to choose a new race and a new job and a new class every single time. And depending on how I don't really focus on alignment. I play whatever I feel like playing at the time or whatever matches the class and character I'm thinking of. So, I could be a gremlin. I could be just normal, neutral, basic girl who's like, why am I here and what am I doing?
I'd say for me, it's just video games. I love video games.
All right. You got the question.
Oh yeah, those two. If I had more time.
What?
PC or console?
Oh, that's hard because I play on both.
Yeah,
Both are great.
I mean,
Both are great.
nowadays too, it's like everything is sort of split, and
That's true.
They're phasing out the Xbox, so it sounds like a lot consoles might be starting to go because they're just going to put it all on PC anyway.
I have files for Stardew Valley on both my Switch and my PC. So I'm like,
I think a long time also the thing about it was like also what controller did you want to do? I veered towards consoles because I liked controllers, but now every PC and their mother has like you can hook up controllers, so it's
That's
like there's
true.
really no difference anymore. I'll play it on either.
I did just get a PS5 recently too, and I'm like, that thing's really, really powerful. But I also have it hooked up to my PC because I stream. But then also I was playing Baldur's Gate on PC, so I'm kind of split. I'm sorry.
I think it now just depends what controls.
Even.
Really?
I guess
Oh my
now it just
God.
depends what control scheme you want, because it's
That's
like
true.
I think they also you can play Baldur's Gate on the what's that Steam Deck,
Yeah.
but I feel like that'd be a tough one to play with like
think so.
the control pad and the mouse. Like the mouse
Yeah.
version just seems like the optimal way to play that game.
I also
Yeah.
played Undertale on both console and PC, but I think I like it on the PC better. I feel like I control it better using the arrow keys, so yeah.
And then favorite genre?
horror,
Oh, that's also horror for
horror,
you.
horror,
Yes.
horror for me.
Oh gosh.
I mean, I'll mostly. I'm not too disposed towards anything if it's a fun game. But if I see a new horror game, I'm immediately gonna be like, "Ooh, what are you about?"
That's exactly what I do.
I think it had to be RPGs. I do like
Yes.
RPGs. But also, do you call like stuff like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley? Do you call those like Sims? Like
Those are
farm?
Sims.
Good
Well,
shit.
Stardew Valley farming sim.
Yeah, relaxation sims.
Animal Crossing is more like I would say like town builder, town
Okay.
sim.
Okay.
You know,
But then I am a very competitive Mario Kart player. I literally have my Switch on me and I'm ready.
Oh my gosh, did you get
There-
to join in on the tournament here?
No!
There was one on Saturday.
Shoot! No one told. I was
And then there's
busy,
the
but no one
TikTok
told
party
me.
That's been going all weekend. The video game
Dang
arcade's been going all
it.
weekend.
I have a
Like,
cart combo and everything. I'm sorry I keep clapping and gesturing near your
Fine,
mic.
our mic can handle it.
Our mic can handle it.
Yeah, you can absolutely. It won't hurt the mic.
Like, we mute it.
Yeah, just
Oh,
so
you didn't hear me go,
happens-
oh. Oh.
See, like we actually have our gaming mic here, so I think it's built with rage gamers in mind, so it handles
yeah.
noise
Amazing.
very well.
I do miss playing JRPGs, but it's harder to get the time for it because look, I don't play it right through. Look, Sarah's gonna get everything she can done and every single side quest and every little thing she
GRP.
can, and Sarah's gonna be that one. Like, let's put it this way: I haven't finished Disgaea 1, even though I started playing it back when I was in high school. And at this point, I have plus 500 hours on that game, and I only know this because when you save, it tells you how many hours you played, and it stops at 500. It literally stops counting after 500 hours.
Broke the machine.
So JRPG, that's a grinding RPG, right?
I can't help it. I'm gonna grind regardless. I want to get everything done. Back in the glory days when I used to have time to do anything, I'd go home after school. I'd stick in Final Fantasy X and I'd go to the Omega Dungeon and just grind for hours while listening to music because it's just like da 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 da, yay 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 yay.
Love it.
Yeah.
Not as much time these days.
Fair.
Oh, fair.
All right, guys. Any upcoming projects?
Look forward to Persona 3 Reload episode, I Guess the Answer. I think that comes out in September. I guess.
No, really?
Yeah.
know.
What a surprise.
I don't even know. That's a surprise to me.
What?
I'm the last to know, apparently.
All right, upcoming projects.
I don't know what's still under NDA.
Oh, it's okay if it's NDA.
I'm trying to think what's safe to talk about because I think at the moment, unfortunately, it's all under NDA.
That's okay. It's just a plug for you guys.
Unfortunately,
Keep
like
people in.
there would be stuff I would love to talk about right now, but it's still just like not out yet. Can't talk about it.
Gotcha.
Same. Besides the first thing. Also, Unicorn Overlord. I am in that. I just really like saying the name.
Yes.
Unicorn Overlord.
Any socials or websites you would like your fans to go to so that they can catch your next project that might still be under NDA now?
I'm on Twitter and YouTube at Sarah with an H and with an E Willia. YouTube, fortunately, it's like, yes, please follow me on YouTube, but also I apologize, I don't tend to upload a lot just yet, except occasionally little announcement thingies. And I did an audition for a musical that they're literally like, you have to upload it on YouTube. So I was like, well, it's content. Here you go. I might move to Blue Sky soon because they're talking about getting rid of blocks on Twitter, and I'm just like, man, I can't even with you anymore.
It's a terrible
But I'm still on Twitter if you want to follow me there.
Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch. I have been streaming Persona 3 Reload on Twitch. It's all at Don M. Bennett VA. 2 N's, 2 T's. There's an M for my middle initial. Please spell it right.
The M in the middle initial is extremely important, y'all.
Yes, it is.
All right. Is there anything you'd like your fans to know about you, or to say directly to your fans?
I love you.
I hope that.
I appreciate you. I mean, yeah, thanks for being fans in general. It always, again, kind of strikes me as odd that I feel like I'm just this very, very normal person and there's people who want my autograph. So thank you for supporting and liking my stuff, and yay.
Right on. All right, well, thank you both for talking nerdy with us today. Thank you for coming on the show. It has been an absolute delight to get to know you a little better.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.